Learners, I welcome you to the lesson 22, The Truth of Secondary Level English. Coming to the introduction, The Truth is a beautiful poem about our emotions and how we react to words. It is universally accepted and known that harsh words hurt and kind words heal. We need to control our emotions, negative emotions like anger, jealousy, etc. If not controlled, can be terribly destructive in life. Our holy scriptures, reformers, and preachers have always emphasized the need for controlling strong emotions and ambitions in order to maintain a calm and peaceful attitude. I quote over here a few lines from Atharva Ved. Try to understand the meaning in depth and ponder over the significance. Words can confer strength. They can drown it off. Words can gain friends. They can turn them into enemies. Words can elevate or lower the individual. One must learn the habit of making one's words sweet, soft, and pleasant. This above quote, the said quote, emphasizes the power of words. Good and kind words can give us and others strength. Alternatively, harsh words can hurt us beyond measure. They can gain friends for us or turn them into enemies. Words have the power to elevate us or lower us in the eyes of others and also lower us in our own self-esteem. Vedas have given mankind this wisdom right from the ancient days. But the question remains, can we control our negative feelings and keep a check on what we are saying? All the said wisdom has been preached not just in India, but by wise people all over the world. Now, let us do some introspection. Try to recall the time when someone hurt our feelings by saying something rude or harsh. Did the pain last for a long time? What were the other thoughts that crossed your mind? Did you wish that the other person could have said the same thing in a less hurtful manner? Learners, do ponder on these questions. Coming to the objectives of the lesson, after completing this lesson, you will be able to enjoy reading the poem, explain the central idea of the poem, state the effect of harsh and impolite words on our mind and heart, justify the need for effective communication for problem solving and positive relationships, identify the comparisons used to relate certain ideas in the poem, explain the literary devices used in the poem to create an impact on the reader, explain the significance of the title of the poem, and analyze your own behavior in reaction to a particular situation. Coming to the poet of this poem, the poet of this poem is Barry Wade. Barry Wade lives in Warwickshire in England and teaches at Birmingham University. He has also taught in both elementary and secondary schools. Barley is his second book for Oxford. Barry Wade is a published author and an editor of children's book. Some of the published credits of Barry Wade include The Emperor's New Clothes, Leapfrog, etc. Learners, let us read the poem once through to get familiar with the content. Let us read it out together. The name of the poem is Truth. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can also hurt me. Stones and sticks break only skin, while words are ghosts that haunt me. Slant and curved, the word swords fall, to pierce and stick inside me. Bats and bricks may ache through bones, but words can mortify me. Pain from words has left its scar on mind and heart that is tender. Cuts and bruises now have healed. It's words that I remember. Now, learners, let us paraphrase the poem stanza by stanza. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can also hurt me. Stones and sticks break only skin, while words are ghosts that haunt me. Learners, we all get hurt physically and mentally. When we are hurt physically, everyone can see the injury and sympathize with us or treat us. But can the world see the extent of injury caused when we are mentally or emotionally hurt? No, no one can. No one can see it or guess to what extent we must be suffering. No one can even gauge the silent pain that we suffer from. We have to suffer it alone. In this stanza, learners, the poet compares the pain caused by weapons with the hurt caused by unkind language. He says, sticks and stones hurt us physically. This hurt is temporary and the wounds heal up fast. They are treatable and curable. The hurt or insult which rude words and harsh words inflict on our mind and emotions cannot be described or seen. We feel mentally upset and disturbed. This wound takes a long time to heal. Coming to the second stanza, learners, slant and curved the words swords fall, to pierce and stick inside me. Bats and bricks may ache through bones, but words can mortify me. How do you feel when you have been treated unfairly by someone? Do you think being intolerant and aggressive is always an effective way of dealing with people? Let us see what Gandhiji has to say on this aspect. He said, keep your thoughts positive because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive because your words become your behavior. In this stanza, learners, the poet brings out the intense pain caused by bitter words. We cannot find out intensity of pain caused by harsh and cruel words. How does one feel when he or she is humiliated and insulted? It is difficult to describe. The poet over here compares the physical wounds inflicted by objects like swords. They may give deep cuts and gashes, but again, they will heal over a period of time. Compared to this physical injury, the hurt inflicted by angry and harsh words can hurt us equally, just that this injury leaves a permanent etch on our minds and we suffer for a long time. Negative words humiliate us and make our life miserable. You must have experienced this in your day-to-day life. Coming to stanza number 3, pain from words has left its scar on mind and heart that's tender. Cuts and bruises now have healed. It's words that I remember. In this stanza, the poet focuses on the injuries that have left a permanent mark on your mind. Let us do some introspection or go back into our memory lane and think of a physical injury which you may have sustained or suffered from in the past. Reflect also on some unkind words which someone at some time may have spoken to you and which gave you intense pain. Compare the two incidents and the quality of pain. Which experience did you forget early and which one lasted a long time? Which pain was not easy to forget? In this stanza, learners, the poet explains the damage caused by harsh language is much more than the damage caused by physical injury. Both leave scars, one on the body and the other on the mind and heart. But the scars on the mind and heart do not let us forget the experience. The poet probably wrote this poem after a personal experience which was bitter and intense. Therefore, he is able to express the pain so clearly. Learners, coming to the summary of the poem, this is a short poem written in a very simple style and language, and therefore it is not difficult to understand the message the poet is trying to give out. All the 3 stanzas echo the same thought and vibration. He gives practical examples to bring home the idea. The focus of the entire poem is on the use of language and words which we choose while talking to people. Kind words emanate kind feelings and have a positive influence on both the speaker and the spoken. Kind words can help make friends. On the other hand, hard or harsh words have a negative impact on both the speaker and the spoken. For instance, harsh words are spoken out of anger or jealousy. Both these emotions are negative and give rise to negative expression. Anger and jealousy damage the person himself and cause hurt to the listener. This may not only break relationships but inflict deep wounds of humiliation and suffering on the other person, which he may not be able to overcome easily. Physical injury is healed in no time, but emotional or mental injury does not heal so soon. Learners, coming to the central idea of the poem very simply and subtly tries to tell people the value of using kind and soft words when speaking and to be able to control one's negative emotions, which can be self-damaging too. Positive feelings convey positive vibrations and make friends. Negative emotions convey negative vibrations and ruin relationships. Learners, coming to the appreciation section of the poem, in this poem, the poet says a lot in a few words. He does this by using literary devices such as metaphor, alliteration, and repetition. These literary devices create an impact and help the readers to infer the meaning on their own. Literary devices used by the poet over here. Number 1, metaphor. Metaphor compares two things that are not very similar. It describes two things in terms of a single quality or feature that they both share. Metaphors help to feel the intensity of emotion. For example, words are like swords. Words are like ghosts that haunt me. Number 2, alliteration. It is the repetition of the initial sounds in words to create an emphasis and a pleasing and musical effect. It helps the reader to appreciate and enjoy the poem. For example, sticks and stones, there is a sound of S. Bricks and bats, sound of B. Stones and sticks, again, sound of S. Number 3, repetition. It is the repetition of words that emphasizes important ideas. For example, the idea of words that hurt has been repeated in the lines such as, but words can also hurt me. But words can mortify me. It's words that I remember. Learners, coming to effective communication, which is a part of this lesson, effective communication skills are fundamental to success in many aspects of life. Many jobs require strong communication skills, and people with good communication skills usually enjoy better interpersonal relationships with friends and family. Effective communication is a key interpersonal skill, and learning how we can improve our communication has many benefits. Communication is a two-way process. So improving communication involves both how we send and receive messages. Certain key points are that you should learn to listen. Listening is not the same as hearing. Learn to listen not only to the words being spoken, but how they are being spoken and the non-verbal messages sent with them. Learners try to use the techniques of clarification and reflection to confirm what the other speaker or the person has said and avoid any confusion. Try not to think about what to say next whilst listening. Instead, clear your mind and focus on the message being received. Your friends, colleagues, and other acquaintances will appreciate good listening skills. Number 2, learners try to be aware of other people's emotions. Learners be sympathetic to other people's misfortunes and congratulate their positive landmarks. To do this, you need to be aware of what is going on in the other people's lives. Make and maintain eye contact and use first names where appropriate. Do not be afraid to ask others for their opinions, as this will help to make them feel valued. Consider the emotional effect of what you are saying and communicate within the norms of behavior acceptable to the other person. Number 3, try to empathize. Empathy is trying to see things from the point of view of others. When communicating with others, try not to be judgmental or biased by preconceived ideas or beliefs. Instead, view situations and responses from the other person's perspective. Stay in tune with your own emotions to help enable you to understand the emotions of others. Learners, encourage. Offer words and actions of encouragement as well as praise to others. Make other people feel welcome, wanted, valued, and appreciated in your communications. If you let others know that they are valued, they are much more likely to give you their best. Try to ensure that everyone involved in an interaction or communication is included through effective body language and the use of open questions. Do not say the first thing that comes into your head, but instead take a moment and pay close attention to what you say and how you say it. Focus on the meaning of what you want to communicate. What you want to communicate. Aim to increase understanding by considering how your message might be received by the other person. By communicating clearly, you can help avoid misunderstandings and potential conflict with others. By speaking eloquently, you will come across as more intelligent and mature. Learners, use humor. Laughing releases endorphins that can help relieve stress and anxiety. Most people like to laugh and will feel drawn to somebody who can make them laugh. Don't be afraid to be funny or clever, but do ensure your humor is appropriate to the situation. Use your sense of humor to break the ice, to lower barriers and gain the affection of others. Learners, treat people equally. Always aim to communicate on an equal basis and avoid patronizing people. Do not talk about others behind their backs and try not to develop favorites. By treating people as your equal and also equal to each other, you will build trust and respect. Check that people understand what you have said to avoid confusion and negative feelings. Learners, attempt to resolve conflict. Learn to troubleshoot and resolve conflicts and problems as they arise. Learn how to be an effective mediator and negotiator. Use your listening skills to hear and understand both sides of any argument. Encourage and facilitate people to talk to each other. Try not to be biased or judgmental, but instead ease the way for conflict resolution. Learners, maintain a positive attitude and smile. Few people want to be around someone who is frequently miserable. Do your best to be friendly, upbeat, and positive with other people. Maintain a positive, cheerful attitude to life. When things do not go to plan, stay optimistic and learn from your mistakes. If you smile often and stay cheerful, people are more likely to respond positively to you. Learners, minimize stress. Some communication scenarios are, by their nature, stressful. Stress can, however, be a major barrier to effective communication. All parties should try to communicate and should try to remain calm and focused. Learners, only complain when absolutely necessary. People will not be drawn to you if you are constantly complaining or whining. If something makes you angry or upset, wait for a few hours and calm down before taking action. If you do complain, do so calmly. Try to find some positive aspects to the situation and avoid giving unnecessary criticism. Learners, now read this dialogue between a student passenger and the bus conductor. It is there in your book. Rewrite it to make it an effective communication. The student passenger says, Give me a ticket for the Red Fort. Gives a 50 rupee note. This is in brackets, so kindly see your book. Conductor, give me rupees 15 only. Student passenger, I have a 50 rupee note only. Conductor, did you know that you need coins to pay? Student passenger, you already have so many coins in your pouch. You want to harass me? Conductor, give me the change or else get down from the bus. Student passenger, why should I get down? I have to reach there on time. Conductor, I'll throw you away. I'll throw you out. Student passenger, how dare you? You are a public servant. Don't forget this. So this is the exercise. Do it on your own. Learners, coming to the conclusion, there are issues and concerns in this lesson. Number one, to live a life of peace and calm and to add value to our lives, we need to check and control our own emotions first. Anger, hatred, envy, jealousy are negative emotions. They are expressed through harsh and unkind words, which harm both the speaker and the listener. We need to control the use of abusive language and treat others with respect. Compassion, empathy, caring attitude, and understanding heal both physical and internal wounds. Pleasant communication is like music to the ears. So each time we speak, let us use polite and respectful expressions. We can become better human beings if we learn to control feelings of ingratitude, revenge, intolerance, and selfishness, and cultivate a character of tolerance, kindness, forgiveness, selflessness. Learners, here we come to the end of the lesson. I hope you have understood the poem. Read the poem twice or thrice to reinstate the ideas you have learnt. Learners, I also request you to read the lesson in the book before writing the exam. I wish you all the best. Thank you.